What's up, Marvel United family? Welcome to the channel. Server Zero here, aka Mr. Perry, and today we'll be showcasing and reviewing Red Skull from Marvel United Season 1. Let's go. All right, family, let's check out Red Skull. He has his standard dashboard here. He has a total of 11 health when he's fighting 4 heroes, 8 health when he's fighting 3 heroes, and 4 health when he's fighting 2 heroes. His BAM effect, deal 1 damage to each hero in Red Skull's location and increase the fear track by 2. His overflow effect, if a civilian or thug token cannot be added to a location, increase the fear track by 1 for each token you cannot add. His villainous plot fear track, when this track reaches 20, heroes lose. There is no debating. It's over. All right. Red Skull has his standard 18 cards, being a villain. He has a move, and he's gonna put out some thugs. Three move, some civilians. 5 move, and some thugs and civilians. 0 move and a BAM. 1 move and a BAM. 2 move and a BAM, and he puts out some thugs. 2 moves and a BAM, and he puts out some civilians. 4 moves and a BAM, and he puts out some thugs. And always remember the trigger effect. We'll get to that a little more. Remember those trigger effects when they land and when they're moving and they land on these trigger effects. Sometimes we kind of forget about them. All right. Then he has his 4 special effect cards. The first 2 being Hydra Insurgency. For each crisis token the heroes have, advance the fear track by 1. He doesn't move, he BAMs, and he has 2 of those. His next one is Hell Hydra. Discard all civilians from locations with heroes and deal 1 damage to each of those heroes. Advance the fear track by the number of civilians discarded this way. He doesn't move, he doesn't BAM, and he has 2 of those. All right, let's check out his threat cards. First threat card. Each thug in this location requires 2 damage to defeat. We know about that one. You'll need 3 heroic actions to get rid of it. The next one is subversion. Discard all thugs and civilians from this location and advance the fear track by the number of tokens discarded this way. And as you can see, it has a trigger effect on it. So if you land there with his, let's say a BAM, and he lands in this location with this trigger effect, don't forget, that's what it means. But it only happens if he lands there. All right, and you'll need 3 heroic actions to get rid of that one. Brainwashing. Heroes in this and adjacent location take 1 crisis token. And again, it has a trigger effect. Be sure to watch it. Be careful out there, guys. And you'll need 3 heroic actions to get rid of it. Now, Red Skull comes with 3 henchmen. Yeah. Bob, Agent of Hydra, is the first one. He has a health of 4. Heroes starting their turn in this location take 1 crisis token. Madam Hydra is the second one. She has a health of 5. Deal 1 damage on a BAM. Deal 1 damage to each hero in this location. Any hero can prevent this effect by taking 1 crisis token. So, every time Red Skull BAMs, he's gonna activate Madam Hydra. So if you're in her location, this effect will happen to you on top of what happens with Red Skull's BAM, and if he's in a location where it trigger effect. The next henchman, Crossbones. He has a health of 6. And on a BAM, deal 2 damage to each hero in this location. Any hero can prevent this effect by taking 2 crisis tokens. So again, Red Skull BAMs. He's gonna activate Crossbones BAM. You'll take that damage as such if you're there. On top of Red Skull's BAM, if you're in somewhere where, you're close and you get hit, and if he's in a place where a trigger effect happens. So be careful where you guys are moving around the board. All right, let's see how they work. All right, guys, let's check out Red Skull's threat cards. So the first one here, if we were to move here, of course you guys know, each thug in this location requires 2 damage to be defeated. So that means you need 2 punch tokens, 2 wow tokens, or you'd have to use a punch or another punch from a previous teammate to maybe help you get rid of 1 thug in that location. All right, and if you moved here, oh Bob, Agent of Hydra. Heroes starting their turn in this location takes 1 crisis token. So if you were to land there, and then on your next turn, if you start there, you will receive a crisis token. Yeah. You receive a crisis token. And if you were to move in a location like this, you would run into Crossbones, another one of his henchmen. Deal 2 damage to each hero in this location. Any hero can prevent this effect by taking 2 crisis tokens. Same thing with Madam Hydra. She deals you 1 damage, and you can take 1 crisis token to prevent that effect. On a BAM, remember, when Red Skull BAMs, he will activate Madam Hydra, he will activate Crossbones, and he will always push the fear tracker by 2. Always. And if he is in your location, you will receive damage. And if there is an overflow, there is an overflow effect. The fear tracker will move as many civilians or thugs that cannot be placed. So always remember that, guys. All right, let's talk about his trigger effects. Discard all thugs and civilians from this location and advance the fear tracker by the number of tokens discarded this way. So his trigger effects: subversion and brainwash. If he was to land here, even if he didn't bam, your trigger effects right here, still are in play. He would activate that if he was to land on any of those trigger effects. So it will make it even more difficult if he bams. If he had a bam like so, and it had a trigger effect as well, it would make it even more difficult. So not only would he discard the civilians and the thugs, he would move the fear tracker up by that many, but as well as bamming, which would give it another 2. And oh my goodness, just the combos he would put on you himself. All right. So let's check out his Hydra Insurgency. For each crisis token the heroes have, advance fear tracker by 1. So he bams, he may not move, but he calls Hydra Insurgency. If you have any crises tokens, if you had gathered up some crises tokens, you'd have to move that fear tracker up. And it's just moving and moving, kind of sneaks up on you. So you want to be careful as you're going around the board fighting, making sure you're keeping those crisis tokens down, making sure you work together as a team to get rid of these threats. And his last one, Hell Hydra. Discard all civilians from locations with heroes and deal 1 damage to each of those heroes. Advance the fear tracker by the number of civilians discarded this way. This one can be a doozy. This one can really be a doozy. Because if you have multiple heroes in multiple locations and you guys have not saved enough civilians, when he called Hell Hydra, oh my goodness, you are looking at a combo that can knock you out pretty quick. So you paint the scenario of having a hero here, and maybe a hero here, and you guys have civilians in those locations. So you will discard 3 civilians in this location. Then you would discard 3 civilians in this location. That's 6, right? And then you would discard 2 civilians in this location. And that's just with 3 players, guys, not 4. So you're looking at 8. You're defeated. So Red Skull can truly be a menace, very challenging. He's an excellent beginner boss to learn the mechanics. I'm glad that Simon picked him along with Ultron and Taskmaster to be the start in the core box to teach you pretty much the way they work. So, that being said, if you guys enjoying what I'm doing here, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.